Hey guys, today Chris and I are exploring a really cool area. It is actually an abandoned zoo, which is now a botanical gardens, but there's still like remains of the old enclosures. There's lots of wildlife here, so a really cool area that we both enjoy coming to. So we're gonna show you guys around, hopefully find some cool animals, and it's gonna be a good day. Future home of the Crandon Park Petting Zoo. You think that's a new sign?
Sure doesn't look new. There's that old broken down building back there too.
Huh.
So the park here used to actually be a zoo, and so you can see the old enclosures are still here, still standing. And this park had a ton of different animals here as well, but check out some of these old enclosures. I mean, it's pretty wild, you know? You can see in there a little bit. A lot of graffiti now. Definitely not the best enclosures for any animal to be living in, that's for sure. But I guess it was a different time, different standards. A female peacock up there, she's still enjoying it.
There's another cage or enclosure over here that we're gonna go check out.
So many iguanas. So this looks like, I bet there's a bear in here.
This wasn't his cage.
No, this was his hide. I bet you this was the bear cave. So this is new, you know, they put this cover on it to keep people, oh, you see all the graffiti. So they put this on to keep people off from doing the graffiti. But I bet you this was surrounded with a cage, and then this was the bear's cave.
I hope so.
Well, he definitely didn't live in just that.
I mean, from what I was reading, they said they had a polar bear in like a metal cage with a kiddie pool. So, I don't know.
Well, maybe this is it.
That would be...
Oh, there goes a big iguana in there. Look at him. He's scampering
Can
around.
he get out? How'd he get in?
Oh, he's freaking out over there, though.
Oh, no.
If he got in, he can get out. He's going crazy over there, though.
He's gonna have to dig his way out. Oh, yeah, he can get out right here.
Yeah, he can get out.
So we have another enclosure behind us, and Chris just said he thinks this might be like a chimpanzee cage.
It looks like a primate enclosure to me. I mean, obviously I don't really know, but just the way it's kind of built out like that with the smaller door that's kind of raised up, it kind of makes me think that.
You know what's really crazy is I was reading that during the peak of this zoo, they housed 1,200 animals. And we're not talking about like small animals like bunnies. We're talking about chimpanzees, lions, they had a polar bear, giraffes. So lots of large animals, and this is just, these enclosures, they look not great.
Yeah, well, you can see there's a brand new paint job that the park put onto these, the enclosures that are still existing. So, and this is new wood right here too. So you can see this is, it's been fixed up, which is cool. You know, I think it's pretty cool that the park is keeping this structure here and fixing it up and making it look kind of nice, and that way people can come and see the history here. Now, if you're wondering, where did all this come from? This got started in 1948. There is a traveling circus of sorts that either broke down or somehow ended up here. And they started out with just a couple bears, a couple monkeys, but eventually it just grew and grew and grew until in its height, this facility had 1,200 animals here at one time. And you can probably gather the enclosures are not very big, it's not very spacious, and the conditions were pretty abusive. They had a polar bear that was just in a wire cage in the hot Florida sun like this with like a kiddie pool of water, and a polar bear living like that, you know? So the conditions were pretty abhorrent. And so in the 1960s, there was a lot of backlash. A lot of people wanted the place shut down. And then in 65, Hurricane Betsy blew through. Now the ocean is right over there.
Literally just
I mean, like literally you could throw a rock and land in the ocean from here. So the ocean is right there. So when this hurricane came, there's storm surge, everything like that. The flood water comes in. It's very high with the storm surge. And they drowned, like 250 animals drowned in that hurricane. And so that, coupled with the increasing public concerns about the welfare of the animals, is what really kind of shut the place down.
Yeah. And I mean, nowadays, we've come so far. This was only like 80 years ago, and animal care has just come so far since then. Something like this would never happen because we have proper lockouts, there's regulations, you have to have an evacuation plan. So it just shows you how far we've come in the animal industry and animal care.
It's pretty crazy though. It's pretty cool. I think it's really cool that the park left this stuff up and they repainted it. You know, this is redone. This is new wood I'm sitting on right here. So I think it's pretty neat that the park is upkeeping this bit of history here instead of just demolishing it. So we found some old photos of this enclosure specifically too, so you can actually get an idea of what this place used to look like. So you can see the enclosure is kind of small. It looks like that used to be the lockout right there. And so a lot of the cages here were pretty unsatisfactory, right? And eventually when this place did close down, they then moved a lot of the animals over to the newly founded Metro Zoo, which is now known as Zoo Miami. So right in front of us is a big old peacock right here, eating some food somebody put out for him. So that's the male peacock, which is the one everybody knows. Everybody knows that when they see it, the big long tail, and that tail fans out for that beautiful display that everybody's very familiar with.
I hear Paris.
Yeah, there goes some conures. And then up here we have an Egyptian goose as well, and so they're invasive here in South Florida. And so Crandon Park is home to a ton of different invasive species, and like a ton. Okay.
Is that a crane?
Yeah, it's a sandhill crane right there.
Wow.
Well, that's one I think they rehabbed here.
Wow.
So I think that one is non-releasable.
Oh, look at the anhinga in the water. He's fishing. That is so pretty. Look at the pink.
That came from the guy right back there.
Wow, that is so beautiful. Wow, look at it in the sun. The video does not do it justice.
Still pretty. So behind me is a sandhill crane. And this is one that lives here at Crandon Park. And I'm not exactly sure what the backstory on this one is, but as far as I understand, it's non-releasable. It can't really fly, and so it lives here at the park permanently. Normally, sandhill cranes are native in Florida, but you don't really see them normally this far south. On very rare occasion, you will. But either way, they're usually migratory when you do see them. So this one is a permanent resident down here.
Look at the Egyptian geese.
So the reoccurring thing we keep on talking about here is it used to be a zoo and has a ton of invasive animals now. And some of the records of invasive animals include things like mata in these ponds that were just released, Nile monitors, Savannah monitor. There was a slender-snouted crocodile that was actually captured that I guess was just released and then quickly captured though, okay? I'm not exactly sure how quickly, but I know it was caught. So it's pretty crazy. There's been a lot of different weird animals that were here from the zoo days or from people just releasing them that live out here and may or may not be part of a population. Now, there are populations of all kinds of stuff. Like we were talking about the spiny tail iguanas, green iguanas, giant amoebas, basilisks, Puerto Rican crested anoles, on and on and on. A bunch of stuff that is established in breeding. But then there's also a lot of weird one-offs that you might run into out here. I love all these trees, all these ficus. Isn't it cool?
So pretty.
A little South Florida jungle. The first time me and Gabby came here, I totally got her with this fake crocodile. I was like, babe, look at the croc, look at the croc.
I was so confused. I'm like, why is it so dark?
It looks like a Cuban croc. So here's the American crocodile that lives here on the Crandon Park premise. Oh, he's gonna go down though. Come on, don't dive.
Oh, he's going down.
We want to get some video of you before
There he is.
everybody. So we're gonna walk over and see if we can get a better view of him from the front. But so he's an American crocodile, and that animal is native here to South Florida. He's supposed to be here, even though we're at an abandoned zoo and all that kind of stuff. He is not an escaped animal. He's supposed to be here. They are a threatened species in Florida under the Endangered Species Act to protect it, and there's only around 2,000 of them left in the wild. So really cool to see this one today.
Chris is so happy right now. And I've been here a few times. This is my first time seeing the crocodile. It's always so exciting. I mean, Chris and I work with alligators and crocodiles, but I get excited whenever I see either in the wild.
So an important one that we can talk about is
He's going down.
Yep, and he's gonna disappear.
There he goes.
That he's not aggressive. He is afraid of us. He wants nothing to do with us. And people hear the word crocodile, they immediately think, oh, well, crocodile's more aggressive than alligators. Wrong. No, they're not. It depends on what species you're talking about. If you're comparing a Nile crocodile in Africa, which kill about 300 people a year, to American alligators, then yeah, that crocodile is more aggressive. But it depends on what kind you're talking about. When people use the blanket, crocs are more aggressive, that's a fallacy. Okay, this is an American crocodile. Look at his little bubble trail. So American crocodiles, there's never been a death from an American crocodile in the history of the state of Florida. Ever. Nobody's ever been killed by one. Meanwhile, people get killed by alligators here, not often, but every couple of years. Every year, people get their arms ripped off. Nobody's had their arm ripped off by a croc in Florida.
Do you think he's going to surface, or
he's cruising over there. But now there are a lot more alligators and crocodiles, so there's a little bit of a numbers game there. But without a doubt, the American crocs that we have here are not as aggressive as people think a crocodile should be, and they're not out to get you. And that does not mean that they're safe. You shouldn't go like jump in the water with one. That's a bad idea. But they're not as aggressive as people think they are. So this is the final enclosure that we have access to today. There's more on the other side that are blocked off though. But we wanted to thank you guys for hanging out with us, watching this video, checking out the animals in these old enclosures. It's really cool to see this piece of Florida history. Make sure you leave a comment, let us know what you think, hit the like button, subscribe, share, and we'll see you in the next one, guys.